In this video, we're going to have a look at proof by contradiction. Step number 1 is to always assume that the opposite of the statement is true. So this time we're going to assume that there does exist integers x and y such that this is true. We need to somehow now disprove this assumption, so we prove the original statement is true. To disprove this assumption, there's almost always two steps that you take. You either square both sides or factorize both sides, depending on what makes sense. In this case, it makes sense to factorize the left-hand side because it can be factorized. We can factor out 10 from the left-hand side. After you do that, you can divide by what you factored out, so you can divide by 10 here. And then you can sort of get to the idea that this doesn't make sense. If x is an integer, then 5x is also an integer. Similarly, if y is an integer, because that's what we're assuming, then 3y, 3 times any integer, by the way, an integer is just a whole number, it doesn't matter if it's negative or positive. So 3 times any whole number is also a whole number, so it's also an integer. An integer plus an integer should always be an integer. However, what we have here on the right hand side is not an integer, that's a fraction. So this disproves the assumption, meaning that the original statement has to be true, because it's either this or that.